Hey, everyone. Welcome to a special bonus edition of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky and Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers score a massive win over the Memphis Grizzlies at home. Plenty to celebrate, and good news about AD. It's going to be a fun weekend. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Saturday. No matter how or where you get your podcasts, always free, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you go to see the show. This has been quite a Friday. I got to be honest with you. I was not expecting good news about Anthony Davis. I was not expecting good news from Friday night's game against the Grizzlies, that it came into the crypt winners of 11 in a row. The Lakers still without Lonnie Walker, still without Austin Reeves, and of course still without Anthony Davis. Andy, I got both of those things. I got the good news about AD, and I got the win on Friday night.
This was an absolutely bonkers win for the Lakers. Like, forget the fact that it was an incredibly needed win for the Lakers, and it was the rare instance where we've seen the Lakers get down to the wire against a quality team. I mean, we've sometimes seen them struggle down the wire against, mediocre mid-level teams. Yeah.
Everyone.
But in this particular instance, we're talking about a team that is as likely as anybody in the conference to come out of the West. You would agree, right? Memphis is as likely, if not, if you told me they were the favorite, I wouldn't argue.
Yeah, Denver and Memphis are right now clearly the two best teams in the Western Conference.
And for the Lakers to manage to get this win during a game where they had to scrap to overcome a lot of seemingly insurmountable issues that were for a lot of the game just bearing them. We'll get into some of the specifics.
Yeah, I was mention one now. You texted me with about 10 minutes left in the game and noted that the Grizzlies had more second chance points than the Lakers had rebounds.
Yes.
The Lakers could not secure. They gave up offensive rebound after offensive rebound, put back dunks. I mean, everything. And that was a remarkable statistic that you dug up in the middle of the game there, Andy.
Well, I mean, to put this in perspective, at the time, the Lakers had 35 rebounds. Memphis had 38 second chance points. And, obviously with the Grizzlies doing that much work on the offensive glass, they finished this game with 24 offensive rebounds. 9 of the 10 Grizzlies who played in this game got at least one offensive rebound. Like, to put this in perspective, the Lakers had 10 offensive rebounds in total, but still the Lakers had 35 rebounds. It is damn hard to get more than 35 second chance points in a game. Like, that is, for people who just aren't aware, that is a lot.
It's a lot.
But also, this was, I harped on this a couple times at Cam Brothers on Twitter, because this was becoming a big deal for the Lakers. Like, the third quarter, the Lakers were just bleeding second chance points. I made that note, second chance points, 38, Lakers rebounds 35 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Memphis finished the game with 39 second chance points. So the Lakers clamped down on that big time over the course of putting themselves in a position to win this thing.
And that's something that Darvin Ham mentioned after the game, was that they, one of the things that allowed the Lakers to do that was they finally cleaned up the glass. And it was, I'm not the only person who was criticized him, but my major complaint after Wednesday's game, for example, was just the Lakers keep losing these sort of 50-50 games. They've lost 80% of the 50-50 games, it seems like, this year. And the Wednesday's loss against the Kings was no different. This didn't even feel like a 50-50 game. It turned into one because it's like it's right there. The Lakers have a chance to win, but this really felt like a game that they kind of stole. And as improbable, I think, as any win this year, except for maybe the Miami game where both LeBron and Anthony Davis were missing. But I will say this. There are plenty of reasons for people to criticize Darvin Ham. You can point out rotation questions or play calling, late game execution, all these things that, both of us have talked about. And certainly the execution things down the stretch has been a huge problem. The one thing that you cannot hang on Darvin Ham is any notion that this team doesn't play hard, that they quit on games, that they don't try to deliver for 48 minutes. And on a night like Friday, the sort of spirit, for lack of a better term, that they've been able to maintain through a very difficult season and game after game after game, where you keep coming up short in games just like this one. That's something that I think Darvin needs to get a lot of credit for, because, and I liked Frank Vogel. This wasn't there last year.
No.
Not even close.
I mean, you mentioned the Lakers stealing one. I mean, this is thematic because with 7 seconds left in the game, Dennis Schröder ends up getting, just the steal to end all steals. Just
their Steeldermock.
He was their thief, man. He was the menace. He was a menace in this game. He was a menace, as LeBron James would tweet out with a typo a few weeks ago. Picks Desmond Bane's pocket, takes it straight to the rack, and gets the free throw. Like, that's the type of stuff that, and then they talked after
that was
the
a
game.
play that they drew up. That was by design. The trap, try to get the steal before fouling.
And that also, though, is emblematic of what you talked about. Just the idea that this team, for all of its flaws, whether you're talking about roster construction or anything else, they don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
And that lack of quit sometimes, I'm sure, for them has felt like just Sisyphus pushing the rock up and it keeps falling back down, because it sucks when you're not rewarded for your lack of quit. This was a game where they were rewarded for just continuing to fight, even though there were a lot of times where it just felt like it ain't working. Like,
let me ask you a question. So you mentioned the Schröder sequence there. He puts the Lakers up by 2 after the and 1 in the free throw.
And right before that, by the way, Russ got a huge offensive rebound on a missed LeBron 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like right before that too. Like, again, just these.
And LeBron scored on a putback off of a Russ miss at the bucket, down the stretch too. So like they managed to turn tables there, but like just in terms of vibe and feelings, Lakers go up by 2. Memphis comes back. They try to, they got about 8, I think it's something like 12, 7 or 8 seconds left to work with or whatever it is. Ja drives. Lakers did a really nice job on Ja today. Ja drives, misses. They don't get the rebound. Memphis finally doesn't get the offensive rebound. Wenyen Gabriel is called for a foul. Brandon Clark goes to the line, makes the first one. I, for one, was 100% convinced that he was going to miss the second free throw. They were going to get it and put it back in, and the Lakers were going to lose. Because that's how this season has gone.
Thought crossed my mind.
I mean, I cannot be the only person who was worried about that. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to lose on a missed free throw put back from Steven Adams.
The thought crossed.
Okay.
I can't lie. The thought crossed my mind.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think they're going to lose on a 3, because they're not going to take a lot of those Jaws, not going to pull up for 3 and all that kind of stuff. They'll, deny Desmond Bane the ball and so on. I don't think I don't maybe we'll talk about it in the week. I wish we had a little more time to to talk about the weirdness on the sidelines with.
Oh, we can talk about it.
Well, I want to get to AD too.
Well, just really quick. I mean, there
That
was
was weird.
a moment at halftime where security had to. It was right before the first half ended, where security had to separate Shannon Sharp, former Bronco great, Hall of Famer, now on FS1 on the show with Skip Bayless, and T. Morant, Ja's dad, because they were jawing back and forth. It brought the entire Grizzlies team over, created a big brouhaha, and our buddy Dave McMenamin at ESPN got some comments from Shannon Sharp, who said, quote, "They didn't want all this smoke, Dave. They do all that talking and jockeying, and I ain't about that jockeying. It starts with Dylan Brooks. He said I said he was too small to guard LeBron. He said, F me. I said, F you back. He started to come at me, and I said, you don't want these problems. Then Ja came out of nowhere talking. He definitely doesn't want those problems. And then the dad came, and he obviously didn't want no problems. But I wanted anything they had. Don't let these fools fool you now. You will note that in all of that, Shannon Sharp did not mention Steven Adams as one of the people that didn't want the smoke.
No, Steven Adams will take the smoke.
Yes.
My favorite clip is the one where like it's focused purely on Steven Adams, like moving, and all these people are like bouncing off him, trying to separate him potentially. But like he is such an enormous human being. It is amazing. So Shannon Sharp versus the Grizzlies is a thing that happened.
They made up though. T. Grant and Shannon made up.
Yeah, but I don't know if Dylan Brooks and
no, nobody ever.
I will say
nobody ever makes up with Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks getting his fifth foul and eventually his sixth foul, getting his fifth and having to sit for a little while, and then getting the sixth pretty quickly. That was a big deal in this game.
Yeah, Russ drew that sixth one on a drive.
He was rough on LeBron. Dylan Brooks is a horribly inefficient offensive player. He can put up points, but he is a really good defender.
Yes, he is. I mean,
let's talk about AD real quick. The news reported on Friday from Woj, and then I think some other people talking about. I saw Kyle Goon talking about it as well. The Lakers are optimistic that Anthony Davis might return as soon as the end of next week. I mentioned, I think it was on Friday's show, that my theory sort of with Anthony Davis was that he would just kind of appear, that they wouldn't put any kind of date or timeline or anything on it until they really were super duper confident. This is kind of a version of that. Like if they're talking about the idea that he might be playing by the end of next week, they're pretty confident it's going to be, if not literally this time next week, sometime pretty close. That is excellent news for the Lakers, barring setbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you would be looking, if you take that literally, you'd be looking at the 28th of January in Boston against the Celtics, or the next game after that would be the 30th in Brooklyn against the Nets.
Right.
Which is,
I'll take either of those.
Yeah. It's also more or less around the time that you and I thought would be the earliest he'd return based on just stuff we were hearing and just Anthony Davis's history as a healer. But they obviously need him back. Lonnie Walker is now on a day-to-day status. So he could be returning soon. Clearly, they could use him as well. Austin Reeves getting reevaluated again in a week. But this is also, too, just the type of win that can keep guys, keep their spirits high as they have to wait out this last period without these key guys. You know, I mean, just you want to be rewarded for all that effort. It's funny, a buddy of mine who's he's a Bay Area native, so he's a big-time Warriors fan, and he actually was at this game, and he tweeted afterwards, "Can't hate on that. I want to, but can't."
Nope.
It was such a good win by the Lakers, who are, it should be noted, undefeated in games where James Worthy shows up to work in a badass sweater, as you can see here.
All right. Well, that was fun.
That was
fun. It was fun for Lakers fans. It was fun for Lakers players. A lot to look forward to. Lakers now have to go in, catch a little bit of a break. Portland is always a very difficult place to play, but the Blazers are really in a bit of a free fall right now. So they'll be hyped up to play that game. Portland is one of the rare places where it's not usually a Lakers home game on the road. But the Blazers themselves are not playing well, so they catch them at a good time. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you go to see the show, participate in the great community there. We will see everybody on Monday, but we want to tell you about this.
Locked On Lakers is brought to you by LinkedIn. As a small business owner or hiring manager, success in 2023 depends on your team members, and that's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently by using targeting tools to match open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experience to help you achieve your goals. LinkedIn goes beyond resume data using insights from your job post, your company, and their 875 million profiles. That's a lot of profiles to land the most qualified candidates. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easy to screen and rate applicants all in one platform. And that's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. It's really important that you get your 2023 business off to a strong start. LinkedIn will help you make that happen. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the most qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Andy, the NFL playoffs, they are in full swing, and we are really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On, the whole network, because they're the #1 sports book in America, and that's FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They will hook you up. There's so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers joining today get started with a $150 in free bets. That's guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, $150 in free bets guaranteed to follow. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/locked on. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line, the point spread, to the player props, all the good stuff. No matter how you like to put down a bet, FanDuel can help you with that. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with same game parlay. It's all in the app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get to $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so we'll see everybody on Monday.